Hello everyone, my name is Trevor, I go by TheMrTrails, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we'll be going over a build for arguably the best weapon in Dauntless at the moment, the Molten Edict. Consider leaving a like for me, and if you enjoyed Dauntless and are not subscribed already, consider subscribing to the channel. I post Dauntless content here every week. The Molten Edict didn't always have such a lofty status as being a top weapon. Before the return of exotic weapons, it was just seen as a meme weapon. But when the exotics returned, the Molten Edict was given a buff to its special lava ball abilities, as well as getting a fairly good built-in perk of Berserker. This buff solidified it as the best hammer in the game, and in certain circumstances can prove itself to be the best weapon in the game right now. It was even nerfed a bit after the exotic rework, but even with that, it still remains up at the top. So let's go over a couple of builds that we could make for it. The first one we're going to look at is an easy to make version with no tonics and nothing that would require playing a ton of trials or escalation to get the pieces for. This build is also pretty heavily focused on getting extra attack speed. We'll rock the Molten Edict with Overpower and Assassin's Frenzy inside, and going with the extended clip mod. We'll use the Iceborne Omnicell since Discipline is from the Trials shop, and you can rock your choice of lantern with Etheric Attunement inside. For the armor pieces, we'll be using the Rezakiri helmet with Evasive Fury inside, the Koshai chest piece with Etheric Attunement inside, the Boreas gloves with Overpower inside, and the Boreas boots with Predator inside. So our overall perk summary is 6 Etheric Attunement, 6 Overpower, 6 Predator, 6 Tenacious, 3 Assassin's Frenzy, 3 Berserker, 3 Conduit, and 3 Evasive Fury. The 6 Etheric Attunement will shorten the Lantern cooldown to 20 seconds, meaning that you'll have Conduit active for roughly half of the time, and any dodging of attacks or breaking parts will trigger extra attack speed as well. I decided I would take each of the builds into Umbral escalations with my hammer at level 20 to see how they would do. I chose Umbral Escalation because I wanted to limit how important crits would be in comparing the builds. This build got me a time of 7 minutes and 22 seconds, which for a pre-escalation build isn't all that bad. The next version of the build is going for a bit of a crit focus, still with no tonics though, and with that same Assassin's Frenzy, Evasive Fury, and Conduit combo. We'll rock the Edict with Overpower and Pulse inside, either rocking the extended clip or the antique clip mod. We'll use the Discipline Omnicell this time, and going with your choice of Lantern with Conduit inside. For the armor, we have the Time Weave helmet with Evasive Fury inside, the Thrax chest piece with Predator inside, the Time Weave gloves with Berserker inside, and the Thrax boots with Assassin's Frenzy inside, giving us a perk summary of 6 Berserker, 6 Cunning, 6 Overpower, 6 Predator, 3 Assassin's Frenzy, 3 Conduit, 3 Evasive Fury, and 3 Pulse. This build actually only took 5 minutes and 43 seconds in the Umbral Escalation with extended clip, which is pretty darn good, especially considering the no tonics used. Though I will say I got a pretty good run of damaging amps on that one. I did a run with antique clip as well, but I personally didn't perform as well as typical on that one, so it ended up taking about 6.5 minutes, and I just didn't bother to redo it. The one thing I personally would like extended clip over antique clip for on Molten Edict is that priming attacks can give you some pretty easy part breaks, and that can make a huge difference over time, especially with the 3 Assassin's Frenzy. Next up, we're going to go with an all-out Catalyst build with crit and damage. We've got the Molten Edict with Overpower and Catalyst inside, and still rocking either the extended clip or antique clip mods. Once again, we'll go with the Discipline Omnicell, and we're going with your choice of Lantern with Catalyst inside. For the armor, we have the Time Weave helmet with Pulse inside, the Thrax chest piece with Predator inside, the Time Weave gloves with Assassin's Frenzy inside, and the Thrax boots with Berserker inside. We then have the Blitz, Frenzy, and Aether Drive tonics for the consumables, but you can feel free to swap the Aether Drive tonic to an Assault tonic. But our build gives us a perk summary of 6 Berserker, 6 Catalyst, 6 Cunning, 6 Overpower, 6 Predator, 3 Assassin's Frenzy, and 3 Pulse. With the extended clip on this build, I was able to get 5 minutes and 9 seconds on the Umbral escalation, and definitely could have gone under 5 minutes with it. And I was also able to get a 5-minute and 24-second time with the Antique clip. I do have one final build for you guys, and this one that I went with is a bit for the memes. We all know that the Molten Edict gives you the ability to fire meatballs, so I figured I would make a meatball shooter / mage build sort of combo. And I kind of wanted to use the Bastion Omnicell for this too, but you don't gain shield from the meatball attacks. So unfortunately, we're going to have to settle for a Discipline Omnicell on this one. However, when the Tempest Omnicell comes out later this week, that would be a fun option for this as well. And we'll be running the Molten meme with double Tenacious inside with the extended clip mod on this one. I personally think the Drask Lantern makes the most sense for a mage build, throwing a Catalyst in there. For the armor pieces, we'll rock the Thrax helmet with Zeal inside, the Koshai chest piece with Zeal inside, the Malkarian gloves with Cunning inside, and the Thrax boots with Etheric Evasion inside. So we've got 6 Catalyst, 6 Cunning, 6 Predator, 6 Tenacious, 6 Zeal, 3 Etheric Evasion, and 3 Berserker. Though unfortunately the 3 Berserker does not actually activate off of the meatball attacks either. For this one you'd really only need to rock the Aether Drive tonic, but you can run the Frenzy tonic for some extra damage I guess, but the speed of the meatballs really isn't that important. But with this build in the Umbral escalation, I was able to get a magnificent time of 9 minutes and 20 something seconds, and actually that's pretty darn good. Though it honestly could have been faster, because I got this bug where my reload timer just kept disappearing. So that did lead to quite a few failed reloads. But that is going to do it for our Molten Edict builds, guys. Consider dropping that like for me and consider subscribing if you are new to the channel. Dauntless content on here all the time. And I have been Trevor, I go by TheMrTrails, and I will catch you guys next time.